So today I'm going to tackle the rear suspension bushings. As you can see, there's a rear suspension up underneath there. And as you can see, I've got my tools laid out that I'm going to use today. These are the bushings themselves, the energy suspension rear cab set. So we'll just see how it goes. It'll either be easy or it won't. You know, something, a little tool like that 10 years ago wouldn't have done very much at all. You join me underneath the two suspension bushings in question are going to be that one and that one up there. At least they're not tight. Guys, I'm not kidding. That's one of the tightest bolts I've ever had to take off. Goodness. One down. Gotta do the one on that side. But first I'm gonna take the parking brake cables off of the calipers. So I was gonna come take this bolt off here for the e-brake cable, and then I saw this brake line that's in great condition, really good. They're supposed to look like this, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and order a pair of those. All right, that's the parking brake cable loose, out of the way on this side now. God damn, those are tight. Here's the second bolt. It still hasn't dropped down as much as I would have liked it to. As you can see, it's obviously still pretty well connected up there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the struts off. I didn't really want to have to drop the whole thing out of the car, but I may end up having to do that. I don't know yet. All right, so this thing's being real stubborn. So what I'm going to do now is remove these clips, unbolt the caliper, and just sort of hang it up here, and then take the other shock off the other side and just drop this whole thing down so I can actually work on it properly. Just what I should have done in the first place, I'll admit it. Where are all my goddamn sockets at? Alright, I'll just set that there for now. I'll get some zip ties and tie it to something. But now what this will allow me to do is to drop this whole rear suspension arm as one piece without having to bleed the brakes. All right, got this one hung up for now. Just used a random bolt hole I found. And now I'm gonna take the rest of these bolts off in here, hang the other caliper up, and slide this whole thing out of here. Needless to say, things have escalated quickly. That is the rear suspension. And if you'll notice, that's not where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be sort of tucked up in there, nice and snug. Now that I have this on the ground, I'm going to resort to my normal methods for bushing removal, which involves a large amount of fire. This is the side that I already pre-drilled. I think I'm going to go back, let that other side cool for a little bit, and drill the other side, because I do believe that all the extra holes sort of helps the heat and the fire spread through here. Ow, ow, ow. Well, looks like we just about got this thing completely out now. Give me my tool back, you little turd waffle. Come on. All right, there's the sleeve, and I think the rest of this bushing is ready to come out. Just trying to be careful with it, because if sometimes it'll snap, crackle, and pop at you, and then you'll burn the absolute shit out of your hands. There it is. That's out. So now I gotta go through here and let this cool first. I'll work on getting the other one out, and that's burning good now. So in order to clean these bushing sleeves out, we usually use a combination of a drill with some sort of small wire wheel attachment, or one of these, they're like abrasive rotating disc pads. Run them in here, clean off all the heavy stuff, and then you'll go back with one of the less abrasive ones to actually polish the surface in order for the final bushing prep install. There was a 50% chance of rain today at 2 o'clock, and I'm sure you can tell it's raining, and it's 2:04. Okay, as I predicted, it was a very short shower. Now we can finally get back to work. Still just have to use the wire wheel and clean out these bushing holes a little bit more, but we're getting close to being finished with that. All right, now we got those pretty darn clean. Nice and clean, nice and good. It's a pretty decent surface to put a new bushing in. So now I'm gonna try to take one of these, and it's just real simple. You just gotta put it in there. See how easily it fits? Obviously this won't be hard at all. So for now, I'm just gonna try to shove these in here, and if I can't do it, I'll have to break out, you know, threaded rod and washers and all sorts of other stuff that's not very fun. This is the solution that I've come up with. Just set this up on the stools, and then we're gonna bring this arm up into the vise, and then I will squish the bushing into it. All right, we've got this bushing sort of worked in. It's in there enough that it's not gonna fall out. This thing is, it's just heavy enough that it's annoying. This stuff is just super, super duper thick and goopy. There it goes, just popped in. That's about as far as it'll go in. Then I can take it out the rest of the way and push it in by hand. There. Now we got this one installed and that one installed. I'm gonna clean up some of the extra grease around them, and then I'll try to put the central pins in here. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh my goodness. That right there, that's some Patreon action right there. I should make you guys pay for this. Same thing over here too. We'll give this one a nice good old, ooh yeah. Ooh, oh my. Oh, we don't even have to use the vise for these. I actually was just able to push them right in. Let's see. Man, it's amazing what a good amount of grease and lube will do. All right, I'm gonna go wash my hands, because I mean, you know, I got the fucking devil's semen all over my fucking hands, and this shit's nasty. There's no better cleaning product than good old general purpose lacquer thinner. But you will absolutely find every single cut and scrape on your hands like that. Ooh, ow, 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 hurts. But this is pretty much the only way to really get the rest of this gunk residue off of your hands. This stuff is just so nasty and sticky. God. Ow. Oof. there's one of those cuts I was telling you about. Now, you take your rag, throw it over there. It's not my problem anymore. I'll let Dad clean it up when he gets home. You gotta take this big awkward thing back outside. Oh, at least it's heavy. Back outside, I went ahead and got the rear balance piece on. I guess that's what it is. My current genius is double jack action. Just gonna slide it in slowly. More or less have it hung in the car. When I say hung in the car, I have a single bolt through the shock. I haven't been able to get these to line up yet. I'm gonna have to bring the jack over here and force it to go up. That's one side done, sorta. This is what I have to do to get the hole to line up. I have to jack this up and force it into there. That's very close. I think it needs one good whack. Now I'm thinking that should go in. Perfect. So right now I'm having a hard time getting the bolt for this one in. There. Now it looks like I'm having trouble getting this lined up in the actual body of the car. This and try to thread it through. Alright, now the rear suspension is back in the car. I just have to retighten everything. I gotta look up some torque specs. I got the caliper back on. I just have to redo the last couple bolts, and then this side will be buttoned up, apart from, you know, actually tightening everything. Pretty sure this car has the same rear brake calipers as a base 240's SX. So there's some random Nissan trivia for you. Little clip-on. So got the suspension and the brakes pretty much all completely back on the car. But one little thing I have to do, because these cars are kind of uncommon and the internet's not always very helpful, I have to use the good old school Haynes manual to figure out my torque specs. So I'm gonna flip through this and I'll torque all the bolts that I should. Chapter 10, suspension and steering systems. Torque specifications, we want rear suspension, lateral link to axle nut, about 80 foot-pounds. Looks like most of this is 80 foot-pounds. Trailing arm to chassis, I'll do that 80 foot-pounds. All right, I got my torque wrench here set to 80 pounds of feet. I'm sure you'll notice, you might be able to tell, this wheel. All right, pretty decent wheel bearing. Now let's come over here. Not not very good. Yeah, so I think up next on fixing videos is gonna be that rear wheel bearing, because that one is still, it just stopped spinning. So wheel bearings coming up next. Got the car back on the ground, looking pretty good, looks the exact same. And those are the old bushings. You'll be delighted to hear that it still feels the same. Subscribe for more.